Hello and welcome to this week's Virtual Office Hours for the UMIT Learning Platforms Team. We are Bill Volberg, Brett Stevens, Rick Ramos, and Michael Bonanno. This week's agenda, we'll be doing using a Blackboard Wiki with Bill and grading schemas or grading scales in Blackboard Learn with Michael. Just a quick introduction on using the Collaborate interface. We have the audio and video panel, the participants panel, and the chat panel. Then we have the content area. In the audio and video panel, you have the talk and video toggle buttons. Then you have sliders for microphone and audio levels, as well as a preview button for video if you'd like. I skipped ahead. In the participants panel, you've got a couple of interaction buttons here. You have the emoticons button, the away toggle, and the raise and lower hand toggle, as well as the polling buttons and the list of participants. In the chat panel, you can scroll through chat here and enter chat here, as well as talk to the moderators. And in the content area, we have the whiteboard tool, the application sharing tool, and the web tour tool. That concludes our Collaborate interface introduction. Any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to go on ahead with using a Blackboard Wiki with Bill. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Brett. Let's see, what did I do? I covered up the slides. Ding, 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 ding. 1 second. I'm going to reorganize my desktop a little bit. Okay. I'm talking about using a Blackboard Wiki. There are wikis in Blackboard Learn. We don't have a lot of people using them, and I thought I'd talk about both why you might use them and then how to use them. The questions that I'm going to hopefully answer today: what is a wiki? Why might you use a wiki in your course? And how do you use the wiki in Blackboard Learn? So let's start with what is a wiki. We've got discussion boards, we've got mailing lists, we've got content areas, we've got all kinds of ways to distribute things to our students or have them work or turn in assignments and all this. So what is a wiki? First, a wiki is simple and quick. Wiki comes from wiki, which are the little shuttle buses, cars out in Hawaii, and it quickly gets you from place to place. And a person wanted to make a website one time and decided to make a little tool to do it, and he named it Wiki. So that's where it all comes from, just a quick way to make a website or to gather information and make it available. It's web-based, either to create the wiki or to share the information. Users can add, modify, or delete content. And it's collaborative. Different people can work on it at different times. There's a record of what's been done, things like that. So those are the main guides to what is a wiki. And Wikipedia is probably the best example of a wiki that people have had experience with. So it's got all of these pages of information. It's got people can use it and make changes in it. The fact that anybody can make a change is specific to that wiki and is not automatically part of every wiki. In our case, only people in the class can make changes, and students can only make changes if you say they can. But that's what a wiki is. So you're creating this collection of knowledge, of information, editing it, and organizing it. So why might you use a wiki in a course? If you're taking your traditional course, face-to-face course, and moving components of it online, or moving the whole course online, why might you want to use the wiki? Well, first, it's group work, it's teamwork, and a lot of programs, a lot of departments and schools and colleges want to encourage that. Either it's the whole class, and I'll be talking about the whole class today, or it's a group within the class or each group, and they can have their own wikis if you want. One of the reasons that wikis are effective is because of the authentic audience. Most assignments are done, turned into the instructor, graded, turned back to the student, thrown away. They're done to prove that the student knows how to do something, read by the instructor, and that's about it. An authentic audience is where other people are using and sharing this information. Now, a true public wiki is the authentic audience of the world. You can make a topic and promote it, and people can go out and use it. In this case, the authentic audience are the other students. That is, everybody can see everybody else's work and where they are on it and what they're doing. And that will normally encourage the students to do better work, to look for small problems and things like that and eliminate them. It's collaborative writing, which is a pretty new behavior. Up until now, when things were written collaboratively, they were divided up. The introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, the conclusion. You do chapter 1, you do chapter 2, I'll do chapter 3, and so on. But this is collaborative writing where everybody can go in and modify it and try to improve it. And many activities can be greatly improved that way. I'll have a couple of examples in a second. And in general, writing to learn is terribly important. We talk about writing across the curriculum, and we do a lot of writing to assess students and to make sure that they understand something. But just writing something down will help you learn it, putting it into words. So it may not be the high stakes that a term paper is, or it may be, but it doesn't have to be. But just writing it down will help you process it, will help the students process it and understand it. So there's some of the reasons, some of the things that a wiki can do for you. There are other ways to do this, but the wiki is pretty effective at it. Let me give 4 examples of wikis in classes that I've run into. The first one, lecture notes. For every unit, one student is assigned to enter their lecture notes into the wiki. Other students are then told to look at it and improve it. So everybody's contributing, and by the end of the semester, you've got this full set of lecture notes that people can reference or study from or whatever. So I know somebody who has used it. They've given credit for participation. One person has to create it, one person edits it, and then the whole class can look at it after that, that kind of thing. So just find out by topic, have the students record the notes for that chapter or put them down in order for their, again, this is absolutely a writing to learn activity, a very good one. Research summaries. If your students, or if your course is research-based, a lot of research that the students will be reading and learning about, have them write their annotated bibliography in a wiki. Have them put down their comments, their summary, not the abstract from the research journal, but what they think about it. And then everybody can participate in that, adding, editing, whatever. One faculty member had an interesting thing where only articles that were in the wiki could be cited in the students' opinion papers. So they had a certain time to collect articles on the topic, and then they had to write a paper on the topic, but only articles that were in the wiki when it was frozen could be cited, so that the students would really work on finding good articles and summarizing them. A concept report, so often that rather than research, you're dealing with topics. So you want each student to take one topic and write it up and then everybody else to work on it and get this collection and improve it. Or people, or terms, or all kinds of stuff, where you'd pass this around in a class and say, pick one of these, or pick one and tell me what it is, and then you write the paper on that. But that used to be you write the paper on that and turn it into me, and that's the end of it. And this is a different process because they're creating this collection of knowledge together. One that I left off was the student found materials. For every chapter, for every topic, create a wiki page, and the students can go in and add material that they've found on that topic, links to it, so they know what's on YouTube. They know where there are really good guides to chemistry or to math and that. Let them create it in a wiki, and then it's the class's document. Each semester I'd begin it again. Some of the material I might incorporate into the class as the instructor, or I would begin again with an empty one and have the students collect their own again. Okay, so that's why you might use it. So how do you actually use it? It's what's a wiki, and why might you use it? How do you use the wiki in Blackboard Learn? Now, there are lots of different wikis. Wikipedia is a piece of software that you can install and on many computers, but all kinds of servers. It's free, and you can use it to make your own wiki. So you've got this software and then this instance Wikipedia. The Blackboard has written what it considers a wiki, easy to make, websites and collect the information, edit it, do all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be talking about the specific one that's in Blackboard for those people who are interested. The steps I'm going to go over on creating a wiki are organizing beforehand, creating the wiki. There's another step of editing the information and adding it, and I'm not going to go over that very much. I'll just show you where it is, but after we've created the pages, I think editing will be pretty obvious. And then assessing the contributions of the different students or different participants in the wiki. And Blackboard has some really nice features there. To get started, you need to figure out what you're doing and how you're doing it, and using one of those models that I talked about or something similar. And then I like to build a mind map. This is one on 21st century pedagogy that I got off of the web, to Google on it. And 21st century pedagogy is the main topic of the course, or this chapter, or whatever. 21st century pedagogies are interdisciplinary. 21st century pedagogies work collaboratively. They use project-based learning. They foster problem solving. So let's say that I had a small class and I wanted each person to take one of those statements and expand on it, write on it, examples, why it happens, how it happens, all that kind of stuff. So I decided that we're going to do this with a wiki, that they will have to have material in there, outlines, ideas, whatever, that it's a work in progress, so we're looking at a draft until the whole thing is done, and people can go and look at other people's pages and comment on them, and not change them because it's that person's page, but add comments to it. And then at the end, we'll have this document of 21st century pedagogy that our group has written. And if I have more than 8 people, I could be pairing them up. Okay, you two work on assessing transparently, and you two work on developing thinking skills, so that multiple people are working on a page. And again, at the end, I can see exactly how much each person contributed. If you start off with a picture like this, then everything else makes sense. If you don't, It doesn't make any sense at all. So just like writing a book or whatever, you need to start off with an outline. Again, I like mind maps, but however you do it is fine. And once you've got that organized, and in the case of a student assignment, exactly what the students are going to do, then you create. And you create a bunch of things. The first thing we're going to do is create the wiki document, the shell or the site within our Blackboard system. Then we're going to create a bunch of pages in the wiki. And in fact, if I go back, we're going to create the page, the home page, which will be 21st Century Pedagogy, and then we'll create a page for each one of these relationships. And I'm only going to create 2 or 3, but that's the process that you would use. And then we're going to create links to those pages. And I think that's the next thing, yes. Then wiki links to the pages. And this is kind of weird. You create the document, just that there is a wiki. Then you go in and make the home page, and then under it, you make all the individual pages, but it doesn't know that it's under it. It's just a bunch of pages. So then you create the links in order to link the pages, the individual pages, the topic pages, the relationship pages, back to the home page. And finally, all of this is in the wiki system in Blackboard, so we'll create a link in Blackboard in your course site to the wiki, and that's how the students will actually get to it. And I'm showing you one way. There are other ways of doing this. This is, I think, a pretty simple way and keeps the steps very simple, quick, and makes sense to me. So the first step is to create the wiki document. I'm going to walk through this with some screen images and clips on the screen and talk through it, and then I'll do a demo where I'll repeat all of these steps. So I'm currently on creating the wiki and the wiki site. Let me check my notes here so I know exactly where I am. Yep. Okay. So to create the wiki site, we go to Control Panel in Blackboard. We almost always go there, it seems like. We go to Course Tools, and way down at the bottom there's Wikis. So click on that and create the wiki site, the wiki shell, the wiki document. And up will come a wikis page, because I clicked on the tool wikis, and that's where I get the create wiki button. If I've got a lot of wikis, they would be listed here below the create wiki button. Right? Since I don't have any, it tells me no items found, and I'm just going to click on create wiki. I get to the create wiki page. I now have a name for the wiki, instructions for the students. Now these are outside the wiki itself. This is when you go into the wiki, you're going to see instructions. So this is telling the students what's going to happen, and in my example, I think it'll be clear. You've got dates for the wiki and all kinds of things, whether it's pointed, whether there are points on it, and all of that we'll get to in a few minutes. There is a page that has these complete documents. It's in the help.blackboard.com site, which I encourage you to go to. And it's interesting to me because the entire Blackboard help site is a wiki. We can't edit the pages, but they just go in, edit the pages, approve them, somebody looks it over and puts it into the production system. So they're using a wiki for their help system. A commercial one, not like Wikipedia, but that's how common they are, and you don't even realize that it's a wiki that you're using. And these step-by-step instructions walk you through the entire process and every little detail. So when we've gotten to that point, we will have a wiki in our list of wikis, but there's nothing in it. So the next step is to go back to that wikis page, which is where you'll be after you've created your wiki, and click on the name of the wiki. We'll have entered in the name during the creation process. So the first time I clicked on Create Wiki, this time I'm clicking on the name of a wiki because I want to go into that wiki and edit the pages, create the pages. When I click into that wiki, I get a warning. No pages exist for this wiki. Please create the home page. Under other circumstances, you'd see the pages and the organization and that. But in this case, because we clicked into a wiki with nothing in it, it says make the page. So I'm naming it home page down here, but you don't have to. You can name it anything you want. Topics, whatever. I put in the first 3 questions here. Type those in. How is 21st century pedagogy interdisciplinary and so on. I put instructions when I created the wiki. Each person in the class will answer one of the questions on the starting page of the wiki. Click on the link and then edit the page to begin writing. So they're going to go into the wiki. There are going to be all these topics. Each one will be a link. I'll show you how to do that in a second. They click on that, and then they click on Edit, and they'll be able to start working on their page. When I finish with that page, I submit it, I come back to here. Now this is further into it. I hit Create Wiki Page as many times as I have to create those secondary pages. Now I'm not putting anything on the secondary pages because that's where the students will put their writing. So they're really blank pages. Or I could repeat the question or something like that, however you want to do it. But at this point down in the bottom right, you can see that there are now 4 pages in this wiki. The home page, collaboratively, interdisciplinary, and project-based learning. And I just shortened the names. If you remember, I had where is it? There it is. I've got an organization page, and I think it's right there, yes. And these are the 21st century pedagogy is interdisciplinary, work collaboratively, use project-based learning. So I'm just using the ends of these as the name of the page rather than the whole sentence for the page. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so I've created all 4 of the pages, 3 secondary pages and the primary page. And students could do this themselves if they know how, but the first time they come in, they won't know either. Just like you're learning. Okay, so now I've got the pages all created. Now on that home page, I want each one of those questions to be a link to the correct wiki page. So I go in to edit the wiki page. And again, during the demonstration, you'll see exactly how to do that, but you just click on the page and you click on Edit. I select the first question, and I'll tell you a trick. Copy it. Go to your Edit menu and select it and hit Copy. And then use this little icon over here, which is to link it to a page in the wiki. And you've never seen that before. It's a 5 little sheets of paper because that's how they picture a wiki, is all these, kind of like a tree filled with leaves. When I click submit, the first thing that I do is I select the How is 21st Century Pedagogy Interdisciplinary, this line down here. I copy it, and then I click on that icon. When I do that, up pops a new window, Insert Wiki Page Link. There are two things it's going to ask me. It's going to ask me, what page do you want this link to go to? And what text do you want in this link? Okay? Now, if I don't say anything, it will use the name of the page, interdisciplinary. So that's why I said on the previous page, once you select that question, copy it and put it here. So I've copied it, I put it here. I can now submit. And after I've repeated that step 3 times, each one of these questions will link to a different page. Will link to a different page in the wiki. So I now have my wiki, I have my home page, I have my secondary pages. The text on the home page links to the secondary pages. So I'm kind of ready, the wiki is ready for use, but I've got to have a way for the students to get to it easily. So I want to create a link in Blackboard to the wiki. So I'm just going into the content area of this course documents. But if you've got your course set up by units or in some other way, you may have assignments, or you may actually put over on the left, wiki, and have it linked to that, or 21st century assignment or whatever, papers. So when I get to wherever I'm going to put it, in this case, course documents, I click on Tools, because it is a wiki tool. Remember, we went down to Course Tools to find it. So it's not just a content area or an assessment or a partner content. It is a tool. And then I go down to Wikis. Now, this is not in alphabetical order, so you don't have to go down this far. The Blackboard items come up to the top. In Course Tools, the menu over in the control panel, over here on the left, the wiki is way down at the bottom because it's alphabetical. In the tools, it's nice and up toward the top. So I'm creating an item in my course documents that points to a wiki. I can link to the wikis as I'm creating the link. I can link to the wikis page that lists all the wikis, or I can link to a specific wiki. And in this case, I want to link to the specific wiki that I want them working in. And I've got the name for it, 21st Century Pedagogy. And I click Next. Up comes the page where I enter the information for the link. This isn't for the wiki itself. This is what's going to show up on the page where they click to go to the link, to go to the wiki, I'm sorry. So in course documents, it's like putting a folder in there. You click on the folder and you go into it. Well, here you click on this and you'll go to the wiki. So it asks me the link name, and I'm just going to put in the name of the wiki, but it's unrelated. In fact, pedagogy. I knew I'd spelled it wrong somewhere because when I tried to spell it one time, it tried to correct it for me with a wrong word. So that's where I misspelled it. But it doesn't matter because it's just text. Here is more text that will appear on the page with the link to the wiki. So I just took my instructions from the wiki itself and put them here so that they would see it twice. There's more stuff down at the bottom. I think I've got a date when it can show up and when it disappears and all that kind of stuff. I submit that. And this now appears at the bottom of the course documents area in my case, because that's where I put it. And it's the name that I put in, pedagogy, that's playing peg, I guess, with the instructions that I put on. And the title is a link. So students can just click on that, you can click on that, and enter the wiki. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to demonstrate when we come to the demonstration that I want to just show you right now is the assessment. How can you evaluate who has done what in this course? Who has contributed? Did one person do everything? Did they just type it in and not edit it and look at the comments of other students? Did they go in and add comments for one student? What did they do? When you're looking at the wiki, in this case 21st Century Pedagogy, which I either got to by clicking on course documents and clicking on the link, or by going down to Course Tools Wikis and clicking on the 21st Century Pedagogy. This is what the wiki page, the entrance to the wiki looks like. This is the home page. That's what you're looking at to start off. And this is the content. I told you I just put in those 3 questions, and each one is a link, so I can actually click on them and go straight to it. Or I can go over here and I can see my home page and the other 3 pages. All pages will be listed here. There's an edit wiki content. That's how you make changes to a page if I wanted to add the other questions, and that's how students would enter their information. And up here on the right, circled in red, I have participation and grading, and that has some really nice features. Students will be able to see their own participation by clicking on a button there in the student view. And remember, you can always see the student view by clicking on the Go to Student View button. When you click on that participation and grading, up comes a participation summary, which just lists a role for each user. In this case, I'm the only user in this demonstration course. It tells you how many words that user has modified, the percentage of the words in the thing that this user modified. I made the whole thing, it's all me. The page saves, and you'll notice that there are only 4 pages, so how did I do 5? Well, I saved 1 page more than once. And of the pages that are saved, what's the percentage? Now, is this a perfect system? No, because I could go and just change one word and save it, and then change it back and save it, and change it and save it, and change it back and save it, and get the number of page saves increasing a whole bunch. I could put a whole, just Latin, whatever that is called, fill up a page with all kinds of text and submit it, and then go back and delete it all. and I get credit for all kinds of words being modified. So no, you can trick this system, you can mess it up, but as a first approximation, it's pretty good, just to get an idea of what the students are doing, particularly when this is an online activity and you can't see them doing it, and you want to early on catch the students that haven't gotten into it, because if they don't get started, they won't get done. So that's the participation summary. If I click on each person's name is a link, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of brown here. And if I click on that, up comes my participation contribution, they call it, and it's all the stuff that I've done. So here's homepage. I've done homepage version 1 and version 2. If you want to see my modifications, you can click on this compare. Let's see, that was the second version of that page. These are all original versions. So if you compare to version 1, it's going to be the same because it's the only version that's out there. You can see the words. I didn't put any words in these 3. They're just empty. And this is the one with the links in them. This is a home page that I originally created just to see what was going on. And I'm sorry, I modified the home page from here and corrected something I had done that had sucked out some of the words and put them back in. So you can see when I did it. I did all of this, happens to be today. And so you can tell if the students are working throughout the semester, if they were working on this project over time, or whether they just did it all at the end. Okay, so now comes a demonstration. And I'm going to create the wiki document. I'm going to create wiki pages. Now I'm just going to create the home page and one secondary page. Speed it up. I'm going to link from the home page to the secondary pages. And then I'm going to go into Blackboard and make the link to the wiki. And then I will go out and show you the activity that it's collected from my doing those things. So let me go to application sharing. And you're looking at Firefox version of Blackboard Learn. Here's my demonstration course. I'll go into my course documents just to show you that there's nothing up my sleeves. And what we're going to do is create down here the item for the wiki. But before we do that, we create the wiki itself. So I go to Control Panel, Course Tools. I have to scroll down and go to Wikis. So I click on the word Wikis. Now this is the old one. Let me delete the old one. I thought it was already gone. Okay, so normally when you go into wikis, you'll get this no items found and create wiki. I click on that, and it now asks me the name for the thing, and I'm just going to call it pedagogy, again, making short stuff. Enter your information by clicking on a topics link and editing that page. And I understand that this is likely to be cryptic, so if you do this in a class, please walk through it in class. Once you've created everything, show them what they're to do, click through it, and that will help them a lot. I want the wiki available right now. I might not want to. I might want to wait until a certain later time that I flip it and make it available, but I'm happy to make it available. Limit availability, display after. Student access, they can edit it. Some faculty use the wiki for their lecture notes and everything else, and then the students can edit it, just the instructor can. Student comment access, I'm going to have it open to commenting so that they can add comments on a page, and if they go to another student's page, be able to comment on it. Grading, I'm going to go ahead and do a grade. I'm going to put down 10 points for it. I don't want to have participant who needs a grade after every page save. I'm going to grade at the end of the term or the project, and I'll put in a due date because then we'll go into the calendar, and I'll make it August 29th, just before midnight. And I don't have a rubric for it, but if I was doing this in a class, I'd go to Google and I'd look for wiki rubric and then get some idea of what other people have created and probably create one and use it so that students know what is a good entry here. If it's going to count for points, they want to know, do they have to have citations? Is it examples? Is it, whatever that you're interested in. Now I'm submitting it, and that has created the wiki called Pedagogy. So that's the first step. Now we're going to go and create the pages. So I go into the wiki. It tells me no pages exist for this wiki. Please create the home page. Absolutely. And I'm going to call it home page. And then I'm just going to put in topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. Again, you saw how I would put the whole subject and all that stuff and submit it. If I tried, there are a couple things here. I can't add a link because there aren't any other pages, right? If you remember, link to web page is over here on the far right of the third line, and it's grayed out. So I can't click on it because there aren't any other pages, so I can't link to a page. Most wikis that I've worked on let you link to a non-existent web page, and when you do, it says, that page doesn't exist, would you like to create it? And that's much easier, in my opinion. That's one of the features of Blackboard's wiki that I hope to land. So I'm going to submit that. Here we are. Now I'm going to create more pages, and I'm going to call them topic 1. And I'm just going to submit it. I'm not going to put any text on it. Create a wiki page, topic 2, and that should be good enough. You'll see the pattern here. So I've created the top page, the home page. I've created 2 of the second level pages. I would sit here and create them all if you weren't watching right now. And I'd be wasting your time if I did them all. So I now want to go back to the home page and create the links to those other pages. So I go to here, edit wiki content. I take topic 1, select it. Now, if this was a long text where the title, the text that I wanted here was different than the text that the name of the page, I would copy it so that I could paste it. I link to the wiki page. I select the wiki page that I want, which is topic 1. And I can type whatever I want in there. If I don't type anything else, it will say topic 1. If I type something else, it will say the link, the thing that the students click on, will say whatever I typed in there. And I submit. I'll do that again for topic 2. Go up here and select topic 2. And submit. Now, I've just been editing this page. It hasn't been saved yet. And so I can submit it, bottom or top of the page. And now I'm back in the wiki. With this is topic 1. I click on it. I go to the topic 1 page. There's nothing in it. I click on edit. I can start typing, put notes in, do whatever I want. I click on comment. I can comment on the page. Comment on the fact that it hasn't started yet. Comment on the fact that there's some things they might want to know about, some extra resources and that kind of stuff. Okay, so the last step in this process is creating the Blackboard link to the wiki. Then I show you participation and grading, and then I'm done. So to create the link to the wiki that the students will use, I decide where in my course I want it. And that's that same organizational process with picture and diagrams or outline or whatever. And I'm just going to put it into course documents. I go to Tools. I go to Wikis. And when I click, it says Create Link Wiki. So it's creating a link to a wiki. I can link to the wiki's page where the students see all the wikis, or I can link to a specific wiki. In this case, I'm going to link to the specific wiki that we just created, Pedagogy. You can also create a new wiki here. So you could start off with this and create the wiki and then back your way out. I kind of like creating a wiki as a separate activity just to simplify the process. I click on Next. This is where I've told it what I want it to do, and this is where we get the link name, Pedagogy Wiki. Enter your information in the wiki. That looks good. I again have options whether it's available or not. This is whether the link is available, not whether the wiki is available. That was a separate one. Track number of views, number of people that have actually seen this link. Date restrictions for this link to the wiki. And submit. And I'm going to leave all that just the way it is. So now I'm in course documents. I go down to the bottom, and there is my Pedagogy Wiki. So the students, click on Go to Student View. I go to Course Documents. The student clicks on the title. They're there. Enter your information by clicking on a topics link and editing that page. So this is topic 1. Edit wiki content, and I can start typing. By the way, if you get to this point, you've only got one line like this. Remember I told you it was on the 3rd line? It's because the chevrons have collapsed the menu. So if you want to expand it, you just hit the little chevrons to get the menu expanded and collapsed. Kind of like clicking over here to collapse the menu bar so you've got more area for your content, and then clicking here to expand the menu bar again. Okay, so I want to return to teacher view. I've got one more thing, and then we'll see if I can hand it back to Michael for creating the grade settings. Let's see. In this, I want to go to my wiki, course documents, Pedagogy Wiki, and I have participation and grading. So I click on that. Again, there's only one person in the course, me. Well, one person has modified the wiki, I guess. 15 words modified, 100% page saves 4. So I go back to Bill Vilberg. I can see that I made twice. I saved the home page. Page saved topic 1 and topic 2. See what time, how many words are modified. I can compare. So let's compare the home page version 2 to version 1. I removed the words topic 1 and topic 2 and added this is topic 1 and this is topic 2. So you can see exactly what the person did in their editing. So it really is a nice system. If you can find if you find it useful, go for it and incorporate it in your course activities. Let me there we go. Just to recap, we talked about what is a wiki, right? This quick, simple way to make this document that's collaborative and add stuff and delete it and modify it. Why might you use a wiki in your course? Oh, there are a bunch of great reasons. Writing to learn, collaborative writing, all of that. And how do you use the wiki in Blackboard Learn? Well, you create the wiki, you create the pages, you create links to the pages and then you create a link in Blackboard to the wiki. So those 4 steps should cover it for you. And that completes my presentation on using a Blackboard wiki.
Thank you, Bill.